What's up, everybody? My name is Matt. Thank you so much for joining me on this very first edition of something that we're trying out. It is called the A.M Hookah Podcast. Now, you may be thinking, morning smoke? That always sounds good. Yes, but the A.M stands for something else. Besides the M being my name, Matt, I'm going to go ahead and introduce my co-host. The A stands for Adrian. How you doing, man?
Not too bad, Matt. How you doing?
I can't complain. This is exciting. It's a little scary, but I think it's going to be a good time. How are you feeling about all this?
Pretty good, man. Full transparency, this is my first time doing anything like this, but I am very excited to try this out. It seems like it's going to be a pretty good time.
Yeah, I have been doing podcasts for a long time. Funny story about me. Besides being a big fan of hookah, I'm also a big fan of Nintendo. And I used to run a Nintendo-centric podcast for 2 years. We actually ran. It was a really, really good time. And then before that, I had actually there was. Now we're going to get into some introductions. So let's go ahead and start there, and then I'll fall back into what I was talking about. It's a little bit of a tease, is what we call it in the industry. Adrian.
Outstanding.
A little bit of a tease.
Cool.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and start with you. I'll do a small, like almost interview type thing going on here. First, how long have you been smoking, man?
I've been smoking for quite a long time. I'm 24 and I started right when I was 18. But as far as smoking a lot of this higher end stuff, I've only been in the game for about 2 years. It happened when I discovered the online reviewer Eric from over at Hookah.
Oh yes, I love his content. Primo stuff.
Yeah, he's outstanding. He's an outstanding reviewer. He gives a lot of detail and he's enthusiastic, so I really appreciate his content.
Yes. Well, now you're making me feel old, Adrian. I'm not going to lie. I am actually 28 years old. I have been smoking for about 10 years, about 11 years now, because I'm turning 29 this year. So I've been smoking since I was 18 as well. I started on Starbuzz and Alfaker, obviously. Back in the day, now I'm going to say this, you say you've been smoking the Primo stuff for the last 2 years, which is legit, true. We have not seen an influx of good new tobacco, I would say, in the past 3 years like we used to. When I first started, you only smoked Starbuzz, or you only smoked Alfaker, or you only smoked Nakla. Like, there wasn't this large variety of stuff coming out. There used to be some older brands called A.M Hookah Tobacco, for instance, that many people probably don't remember. Baja Hookah Tobacco, which a lot of people probably don't remember. There was a lot of stuff still coming out, as it does nowadays, but the type of stuff we're getting today with the Trifecta and the Ugly, and some of these brands and stuff, even Fumari's killing it. Back in the day, Fumari was kind of hit or miss. It was always good for the most part. What are some of the brands that you like to smoke?
Well, lately I've been smoking on a lot of the dark leaf stuff. I've recently gotten into Tangiers, the Nor line. I started out on Burkuk and realized very quickly that that's not what I was looking for. So Nor produced a little bit of that head buzz that I was looking for. And like you mentioned before, I'm absolutely in love with Trifecta's dark leaf line. This stuff's outstanding. This stuff can take
Enigma?
No, just in general, the entire dark line, it's so outstanding.
Have you had Enigma?
No, I have not. That's one of the few flavors I haven't had.
Oh, you got to get Enigma. It's so good.
I've heard, you're not the first person to tell me that. Right now, my top 3 Trifecta flavors are actually Morning Glory, Earl Grey, and I've really been digging on the lychee as well.
I want to try lychee. I've heard so many good things about it. Sadly, I have not tried the Morning Glory. That's the one that, even though I say, like, you got to try Enigma, I think I hear even more good praise about Morning Glory, honestly.
Yeah, I've had a few coffee flavors since I started smoking, and I never even really liked them at all. Like, I had the Alfaker Cappuccino, which is supposed to be kind of a coffee flavor, and a handful of other coffee flavors that I can't even remember the brand names of. But the second I tried Morning Glory, I just keep it in my rotation now. I've got like 500 grams of it with me as we speak.
Oh man, that sounds very, very good. You're actually smoking right now. Sadly, I am not. The time that we're recording this, a little bit later for you. Turns out you're about 2 hours ahead of me, but I have some other family stuff that I'll be getting done prior, or a little bit after we're done recording here, so I don't have time to bust out a hookah and stuff. But you are smoking. What are you smoking, man? Oh
yeah, I'll give you a little setup rundown. I'm actually smoking some Messiah Lemon Mint, one of my huge favorites right now. I live over here in Dearborn, so sourcing Messiah is very easy for me. They sell it at all all the, what would you call them? They're just actually hookah shops. You don't have to go to a smoke shop out here because the Middle Eastern culture is so rich here. They've got a lot of actual hookah shops around here. So I've got some Messiah Lemon Mint packed into Hookah John's wide gauge Harmony Bowl. It's the denim blue color. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I'm smoking it through, it's a new hookah for me. It's going to be the Cloud Micro by Shisha Bucks. And I'm using the stock hose with 4 Hookah John titanium flats on top.
Ooh, a lot of heat it seems like, but I do know with those wide gauge Harmony, I've never used a Harmony and stuff, but they do have quite a bit of surface area on them, right?
Yeah, and I do have 2 of my coals Stonehenge, so they're turned up on their side, and that does help with the heat a little bit. If they were all flat, it might be burning just a little bit, but right now it's going pretty good.
I gotta say, this is like one of the most fun times I've had been able to talk about hookah, because in my batch of friends that I have, I don't know how it is for you here in a very small town for me, I am like the hookah guy, and I've been the hookah guy for obviously 10 years. I used to own a hookah lounge. I ran one for 2 years, actually. And so everyone knows me as like the hookah guy in my area. So I know like these terms and like these brands and like these exciting things about, all this stuff you're talking about. But like none of my friends, when we talk, they're like, oh, there's nice clouds. It's like, yeah. I got some. I've taught many friends. Don't get me wrong. I have very smart friends when it comes to hookah stuff, but I'm definitely the hookah guy in our group, obviously.
I'm with you, man. Like I said, since there's such a heavy Middle Eastern culture over here, a lot of people smoke hookah, but they're really all just smoking like El Fakir out of knockoff cams, and they're not really sure what's going on. They're using quick lights and stuff. And,
oh my gosh!
And we all start somewhere, right?
We all do.
But I'm the guy that people look at me weird when I'll bring my setup into a hookah lounge, and they'll look at me like I'm insane because I've got this weird looking CNC'd, machined hookah with these weird coals I want them to use, and they're looking at me like I'm nuts. I'm hoping they catch up soon here because I absolutely can't stand smoking quick lights anymore.
If I walk into I don't go to hookah lounges very often. My town doesn't have any now that I closed mine down. But when I do go to like a new town and stuff like that, I'll go search around, see if I can find a hookah lounge. And my first question is, do you got quick lights or naturals? And you're like, oh, we got quick lights. I'm like, see you later. I don't. It's not worth it. Not worth it at all.
It's not worth the headache. It's absolutely not. It makes me nauseous.
Yeah, well, they're not good for you. Let's put it that way.
No, I mean smoking is smoking hookah. I won't get into the health ups or downs. I'm not a doctor, but I will say that smoking is typically.
The whole reason I had you on here was I thought you were a doctor.
I lied to you, Matt. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
I just wanted to get on your podcast. I just wanted to get on your podcast. But quick lights, I mean, you're already doing something that's questionable for your health. But I mean, what isn't in the scheme of things? Everything that's fun is kind of bad for you. But adding quick lights to the mix just makes it 10 times as bad as originally. So,
no bueno.
Yeah, keep those out.
All right, well, I think what we're going to do, obviously this is the first premiere episode of A.M Hookah Podcast, and that's a small introduction to who we are a little bit. I think it would be a good idea to be able to answer questions later on down the road about who we are, what we like, how we smoke, stuff like that. But I think it is time to go ahead and move on a little bit. That way we don't get stuck too far in the beginning of the show, because we live interesting lives. At least I feel like I live a decently I'm really boring, guys. I have a wife, I have 3 kids, I smoke hookah in the evening just so I can try to unwind a little bit. But you are an interesting person, I'm betting, Adrian. Am I right?
I like to think I am kind of interesting. I've got some stuff going on that I think is neat. Other people might not think so much of it, but I think it's pretty cool.
Well, let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about what's been going on recently within our lives a little bit. What have you been up to this last week, for instance? Anything exciting, anything fun going on?
This week, it's right now I'm kind of on a grind between work, and I also run a cover band out from White Lake in Michigan. I'm the bass player, so we're in the middle of getting a set list together, so that's pretty exciting for me. Unfortunately, I don't really keep up with any of the popular TV shows or anything, so I can't get into that type of culture. I know nothing about it.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. People look at me like I'm insane. Nothing.
Nothing of Game of Thrones?
Absolutely nothing. And everyone...
You're literally that one person living under a rock.
It's me and like one other guy. And we just hang out.
I know that one other guy. He's from here.
Yeah, he comes over sometimes. We talk about how much we don't watch it.
That's all I hear when people talk about it. They only know not to talk about it in front of those people, because we believe secretly that you're going to, not you in particular, but anyone not watching it will one day watch it, because you're the lucky one. I want to point this out. I have like a year and a half to wait for the final season now. You're going to get into this show after like it's been out for like 2-3 years now, and then you're going to be able to steam rush the entire thing.
Actually, yeah, I have a friend. His name's Ray. He lives out here, and he doesn't watch any TV, and he just got into Game of Thrones, and I swear the dude quit doing everything else he was doing in his life, and now he just watches Game of Thrones.
It takes over your life.
Yeah,
it really
seems
does.
It seems that way.
But that is actually what I was going to say. This last week, what I did, obviously last week being, for us, it's Monday that we're recording this, and Sunday is when the last episode aired, but I did finish for the season finale of Game of Thrones, and it is getting so intense. I won't spoil or say anything crazy besides, like, everything that's happening. Like, it's amazing. This last episode was actually 81 minutes long, or it's 80 minutes long, so it's like 8-10 minutes short of being considered a feature-length film. That's how long these episodes are getting. And there was so much content in this episode, and still it felt like nothing. There was a couple major plot points that were really awesome to see happen, but there was like moments where you're just like, just give me more Game of Thrones. That's what it feels like to me. I just want more Game of Thrones.
That's so insane to me. That just seems, it's just a movie at that point, right? When it's that long.
That's fine. There's no problem with that at all.
Man.
I'll watch a 3-hour. I want Game of Thrones to be on the scale of Lord of the Rings movies. That's what I want.
Well, that's
Every
awesome.
episode.
I actually may have lied to you a little bit. I do keep up on one show very passively. Like, I'll watch an episode every 2 or 3 weeks. But are you familiar with, it's a Netflix original series. It's Black Mirror.
Oh, I love Black Mirror. Oh my gosh, I wish they would come out with a new season already.
Yeah, I don't know if they're working on it or not. I'm pretty much caught up, and I can't think of the episode that I watched most recently, but it was literally like 80 minutes long, and I was actually kind of aggravated because it kept me up way past when I wanted to be up. I got 4 hours of sleep that night.
You could hit the pause button.
I didn't want to. It was a good episode.
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
I really was a huge fan of Black Mirror from Netflix. So many interesting, cool ideas. Everything had like this. It felt like Twilight Zone for adults. That's what I liked about it.
Absolutely, and the writing it's outstanding. Whoever they have writing that show, I don't care what they're paid. They're most certainly underpaid.
Even if they're living in a mansion that is on Mars right now, they need a second Mars.
Yeah, they need another Mars and another mansion.
Exactly.
At least.
I was a huge fan of that. Anything else exciting happened this last week, or anything coming up even exciting, one or the other?
Most of the really exciting stuff I have going on is actually hookah related, so I'm not sure if you wanted to get into that yet.
No, let's wait just a moment.
Absolutely.
Good job on that tease. I see you're learning. Okay, so obviously we're trying to live the most interesting lives that we possibly can, and things that go on with that. But let's go ahead and talk about hookah a little bit. Let's talk about what we've been smoking recently. Either something exciting when it comes to tobacco or charcoal or bowl or whatever the case may be. Just something hookah related that we are in the process of doing. And I'll let you wait just a moment because it sounds like you have something kind of exciting to talk about, and I will go ahead and talk about what I have been smoking recently.
All right, sounds good.
So I love Tangiers. I'm a big fan of them. Been smoking for many years of Tangiers, and the very first flavor that I ever got into was actually passion fruit. That's one of my all-time favorite flavors from Tangiers because of how much I used to smoke it. But then I went through like this phase where like I didn't want to smoke it anymore because I had smoked so much of it, obviously. So I recently got a bunch of passion fruit on the last time that I'd got some. And last night, I smoked a bowl of passion fruit using my Bambino bowl, and it was just fabulous. It was absolutely wonderful. The one thing that I really like about passion fruit is the fact that it's like just such a sweet, it's almost like a concentrate, like if you were to take like a juice of passion fruit, though it's not very reminiscent of passion fruit, I do want to say, but it's like a juice version of it. It's just like super concentrate, super sweet, and it obviously with the being Tangiers gives you awesome massive clouds and everything else, and I don't know, just a real fun experience. That's something that I've been smoking a lot lately because, believe it or not, I'm actually running out of tobacco right now, and I don't have a whole lot of options. So nothing.
That's not good.
Nothing too exciting to talk about except for when we get to the topic. But what have you been smoking recently? Anything exciting?
I have my daily drivers. I smoke a lot of. I smoke at least one bowl of Messiah's lemon mint a day. It's my current favorite lemon mint. But I am into this. They're an established brand, but they did just come out with a new line of tobacco, and it is Alchemist. They just came out with their dark leaf line. It's called KFC. Stands for Kentucky Fire Cured.
Oh, I thought it was for chicken. No chicken involved.
Actually, no. I think it might just be chicken.
Oh, okay. I also got some KFC, and I just assumed that they just used the chicken feathers as the leaves of the tobacco. Therefore, it was like an alternative. Am I wrong on this?
I did try eating it, and I got sick, so I would say no.
Obviously, everybody listening right now, for anyone that's like about to blow a gasket, like, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. I'm just joking, guys. Calm down. It's just tobacco. It's not a chicken. I know that.
But I've had the option to try 3 of their flavors. Right now, I'm actually right in front of me. I have some moonshine mint, the grapefruit mash, and the bluegrass berry. And I got 200 grams of each of these, and it's almost gone. And I got them like a week and a half ago. So
I got the peaches and cream, and we'll talk about this a little bit more later on in the episode. But I got the peaches and cream, the 200 gram, just like you, and I smoked through it. So I don't remember the last time I smoked through a single flavor this quickly, honestly.
Oh, me either. If it weren't for the fact that I had 3 200 gram containers, I would have finished it in 4 days. Absolutely.
Yeah, it became my nightly smoke. Like, that is the only one that I wanted to smoke every single night, and it just went by so quickly. But we'll talk more about KFC here shortly. Anything else that you have been smoking that you want to talk about as of recent?
You want to hear about tobacco or gear? Because I've got some new gear too.
I would love to hear about some gear as well. I guess I should have said that some of my most common setups for smoking, me personally, is my Carbon 1 stem. I use that with a KM vase that I absolutely adore and love, and it's a really, really cool setup. And then I also have my KM Fione that I use more and more regularly as of recent. And then if I'm looking for like my little desktop setups, I got the Apple on Top tabletop hookah and a Mia Bambino that I actually enjoy quite a few Mia products. Call me crazy, I don't mind. But like the Bambino, totally love that hookah.
I actually saw that you were doing a giveaway on the Bambino on your YouTube channel.
I am. My YouTube channel, Matt Desend, youtube.com. Just do a search. What? Somebody say something?
No, I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
But that's absolutely outstanding. It seems like you got a lot more pipes than me, actually. Up until very recently, my daily driver was my Aviator stem by Art Hookah. It's a pretty good stem. The biggest gripe I have with it is the common chamber. I'm not going to get into the details of what a common chamber versus a traditional chamber is right now.
That sounds like a good topic of the show type discussion one day.
Yeah, we should definitely get into that. Because there's some stuff to talk about there.
For sure.
But that was my daily driver, and I do a lot of smoking while I'm working on my computer, so I'll do it at half-mast, just one of the stem pieces, because it comes with 2 stem pieces, so it actually measures in around 18 inches high, which was pretty good for a desktop hookah. The Aviator stem was a little bit high for my liking on my table. I couldn't really do heat management while I was sitting there. I'd have to stand up. But I recently came into this Shisha Bucks Cloud Micro, like I was saying, and this hookah is absolutely outstanding for a desktop hookah because it comes in under a foot high, and it's pretty stable, and the base isn't made of glass, so I've really been enjoying the hookah itself, but more than the hookah, I've really been enjoying the hose that it comes with.
The hose for the Cloud, for the Shisha Bucks stuff, I've always thought if I couldn't get myself a Shisha Bucks, either the Sky Bowl or the hookah itself, the hoses themselves look really, really nice.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't done my homework yet. I do plan to do a review on this in the future, but the material, I want to say it's silicone, but it's very soft to the touch. It's not like the D hose where it's going to be rigid. It's almost got this velvety texture to it, and it doesn't.
Heard that a couple of times.
Yep, and it doesn't catch on anything. And what's really nice is the handle comes apart into 2 pieces, and there's this super bulky threading on the inside, so I'm not worried about it cross-threading. And all of the components actually fit in to the base of the hookah, and you can put the entire thing into your carrying bag. So if you want to take the hookah to a friend's house or something, it's very, very, very good for that purpose.
And I have brought in so many hookahs across my little small town whenever I go smoke with friends and stuff like that. And I love having a small hookah to be able to just pick up and take with me and throw in a bag and stuff like that. I love smoking out of the nice big, KM hookahs and stuff like that, obviously as well. My Carbon 1 and all that stuff. But like sometimes it's a little tough to drag from one place to another, and it's kind of nice to have the ability to just throw everything together and just take it with you. Sometimes that's real nice.
Absolutely. Some of these KMs, I love my KMs. When I first started to smoke hookah, like I was saying earlier, in the the higher register, the more expensive top tiered products. The first hookah I got into is the KMs, and I can't remember the name of the first KM. It was the Pharaoh's Oxide or the Ferroni Oxide. I can't think of the name. But that was my
Ferroni is the one that has the brass piece right in the middle of it.
Yep. And it's an outstanding hookah. It's just a pain to try to move from place to place because it comes in at nearly 32 inches high or something, I think, is when I last measured it.
Yeah, it's a taller hookah and stuff, and I think that there's definitely something. I remember when I first. I feel like the old guy in this. You've made me feel so old, Adrian. I swear you have.
I'm sorry.
But I remember when the only thing you could get, the only type of hookahs you were buying on the market was a KM, a Midi Zandi is almost like a knockoff KM basically, and some like regular Egyptian pieces of just junk that you could also pick up for real cheap. And then you could get, Sahara Smoke had a bunch of hookahs at the time, all the stuff that they still sell today, and Mia Hookah still had a bunch of stuff. But like the fact that like today, like you have Apple on top, and you have these Shisha Bucks, and you have Art Hookah, and all these just absolutely the plexiglass hookah stuff is awesome too. Like there's been such an innovation when it comes to hookahs to actually buy and smoke. And it's funny because obviously the majority of them do all the same thing, right? Like you put a bowl on top, you put a purge on one side and a hose on the other, and you can smoke it till your heart's content. But like it's just so cool to see the innovation for actual hookahs themselves nowadays too.
Absolutely. Since I'm so new to the enthusiast market, I remember 2 years ago when I first went into Hookah John's website. It was the first vendor I ever shot from, and when I looked at what he had available, I was overwhelmed because I came into the game after all the stuff flooded the market, so I had no clue what to get.
I had stepped out of the market for a long time. It was honestly the things that brought me back to the market were stuff like Ugly Tobacco and Trifecta Tobacco, like hearing those names and like wanting to experiment and try out new tobacco that I hadn't had in forever. I mean, for the longest time, I would usually make about one order every 3 to 4 months. I kid you not. Like I've always been interested in tobacco, in hookah, and I've always been constantly a part of the communities and stuff like that here and there. But for a long time, I just was I just got the same things I always got. I always got Tangiers, passion fruit, horchata, a couple other Tangiers here and there, like Mamon. I love Mamon, and stuff like that. But then all of a sudden I heard about like, oh, what's this twice the ice? What's this this other thing over here? What's this ugly grapefruit mint? Like I had to try everything, and still I have not tried as much as I want to try. But still, it's been really interesting to see the whole industry and market grow, especially as it has. I mean, it really is exciting to see all that.
Yeah, and in addition to all of these sweet new shisha tobaccos we have on the market, there's all kinds of cool accessories being released, it seems like, on a monthly basis. This is an older product that I just received, but I know you were just talking about the Bambino Bowl, and I absolutely love my Bambino Bowl. I just got one from 5 Star Hookah, and it's like the perfect funnel to do a one round of coals on like a dark leaf blend. It's perfect.
And we're gonna go ahead and move on a little bit to through our segments a little bit, because something else that I wanted to talk about during the podcast that we're going to start doing is reviews, stuff that we have reviewed or going to review, highlight reviews, stuff like that kind of. And I'm actually working on a review for the Bambino Bowl, and one of the things that I said in it is that it's honestly, for me personally, I think it's completely taken the place of my 80 feet bowl. And I love my 80 feet bowl. I've used it for a long time, and I've always got a huge amount of enjoyment out of it. And it's so similar in size, but it does a better job with the amount of tobacco that you put in it in comparison to the amount of tobacco that you put into the 80 feet bowl. And I can see myself maybe using the 80 feet bowl if I want to go a little bit longer than what the Bambino Bowl is going to give me. But for the most part, man, if I'm not smoking for an hour, which means I use my Alien, and I'm not smoking for 3 hours, which means that I'm smoking with my Mason, then I'm going to smoke right there in the middle for an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours and use this bad boy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think a lot of what goes into that is just the surface area versus depth in the bowls. They have nearly the same circumference, but the 80 feet bowl just goes so much deeper. So sometimes even through 2 rounds of coals, a lot of people tend to think the 80 feet bowl is a 1 round of coals type of a bowl. But sometimes, depending on what I'm smoking, I can't even get through all of my tobacco with a full 2 rounds of flats.
Yeah, it will suck up tobacco sometimes, almost like it's a hidden tobacco, right? Like you don't even know that it's under there, but like as soon as you start cleaning it and you feel like all this moisture at the bottom, like, damn it.
Yep, could have gone another round.
Could have gone a little bit longer.
Yep, it's the worst.
But yeah, the Bambino Bowl I've been enjoying a lot. I like your color of yours. I saw in the last video because me and you actually, surprisingly, we had both reviewed a KFC flavor. I reviewed the peaches and cream, and you had reviewed, I believe, the first one you did was the moonshine mint. Was it?
Yep, the moonshine mint's the one I have uploaded now, and then I'm working on grapefruit mash as we speak.
And we both decided to use a Bambino Bowl, which I thought was kind of funny. We both used a very similar packing technique, I feel. I think that they were pretty much the identical for the most part.
Yeah, for me it was just a little bit less dense than you would normally pack Tangiers, but it was pretty close.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I landed with it too. The first time I tried to smoke KFC, actually, I kind of went with very much a semi-dense, not quite like a normal or a fluff pack, but just more semi-dense. And I was going to start moving up and down from there until somebody on one of the hookah forums, I believe it was Unbiased actually on Facebook, they had said that I should use the just go straight dense pack with it, and then just a very small underpack with it, and that's what I started doing. And then boom, that cream flavor, that peaches and cream, really started to come through, which was nice.
Yep, same thing here. Shout out to Rob from over at Dude Where's My Hookah for anyone familiar with
awesome.
that. Yeah, he's the guy who told me, dude, just go ahead and dense pack this stuff in an underpack, just like you said. And immediately I fell in love with the tobacco.
Yeah, Rob, funny story. I don't know if he's going to be listening. I'm going to try and make sure that he does listen to it, because me and him have a small history, a funny history. We both were on this old hookah community called hookah.org. And we were talking on there for a long time, and we got into like these small little like arguments and debates and stuff like that. But we slowly grew a friendship over it, because neither one of us like offended another, or we were trying to like get under each other's skin. At least I don't think we were. I wasn't. At least I don't think he was either. We were both doing it in just the defense of what we felt we were talking about at the time, basically. And I have a huge amount of respect for Rob. He's an awesome guy. And yeah, I love his video work that he does on Dude Where's My Hookah on YouTube. Just awesome content all the time.
Yeah, his content's absolutely outstanding. It's interesting that you brought up hookah.org, because I'm not familiar with the forum itself, but I am familiar with Paul and his YouTube reviews for hookah.org.
He has good stuff too.
Yeah, I absolutely love watching his reviews. Back when he was doing those reviews, he went a little more into depth. He would go deeper into the tobacco that he was reviewing than a lot of the other reviewers at the time would, so I really appreciated that.
Funny story. There are 3 videos on hookahs.org's YouTube channel that I am the person that did the edits for.
Shameless self-promotion.
Yes, please go and find those ones. It's there's a Fantasia, there's a mixed review, and then there's also which one was it that he did? Oh, the Starbuzz Exotic White Peach. He hated it.
I've actually watched all of those.
I am the person that did the edits for those videos. Very funny little piece of trivia right there.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it was a fun time. I got to know the guys at hookah.org pretty well. They're nice people. Let's put it that way.
Very cool.
But yeah, so I said I'm going to be coming up soon with the Bambino review. Do you have a review coming up soon? You said something about grapefruit mash from KFC. Yeah,
I'm going to be trying to review all of the 5 current flavors in the KFC lineup. As far as non-KFC stuff goes, I did just receive my first fudge bowl from actually a guy over on one of the hookah enthusiasts pages on Facebook. His name is Aroton, so if you listen to this, shout out Aroton. And he sent it to me for a pretty discounted price. He was unloading some bowls, so I actually fell in love with the fudge bowl pretty quickly.
I want to. That's probably the bowl that I want to try most out of everything that's currently out. Luckily, I got a Mason bowl, so I was pretty excited about that. And then I also got the Bambino bowl now, and I have an apple on top bowl. So like I don't have. I love to collect things. I'm way terrible at like spending money on things I do not need.
Same.
For instance, the Mason bowl. But the fudge bowl is like the next one that I want to get for sure.
Yeah, I'm actually pretty jealous of you. I am not able to participate in Mason Mondays quite yet. That's the next bowl I want to pick up, because I've only heard good things about it.
It's a really sexy time. Now, what you see on the outside when we post the pictures of Mason Monday, directly after that, we all go to a group chat and we just hold the bowl against our naked bodies for like hours. That's all we do.
All right, I'm actually going to leave and go try to get a Mason bowl.
My funny story about getting a Mason bowl is I did not get it online. I was in Vegas for a week. Me and my wife went there for, don't laugh, but we went there to go see the Backstreet Men. I will not call them boys. They're men. And while we were there, we went to a couple smoke shops because I had to go look around and see what I could find. And one of the smoke shops that I went into, called House of Smokes, had a Mason bowl for sale. And they wanted $60 for it compared to like the $40 that it usually goes for online. I felt uncomfortable at first paying $60 for it, and then it was Owen. Huge shout out to Owen, great guy on the different hookah forums and stuff. He's the one that told me, he's like, hey man, you need to go and get that bowl, because if you don't go get it, then somebody else is going to go get it immediately after you. So I ran back to the store and I went and paid the $60 for it. And to be honest, I don't regret it. It's a pretty awesome bowl.
I mean, yeah, you don't gotta pay shipping that way, and what's an extra $20 for a bowl of that quality, you know?
That's kind of how I told myself. $10 for shipping, so it's really about a $10 markup. That's not too bad. Even when I bought it, the guy was like instantly pissed that I bought it. He's like, I probably shouldn't even be selling this for $60. I was like, I ain't gonna argue with you about it. Just give me the damn ball.
That's what he gets for marking it at 60, I guess.
Exactly. If you're gonna do it, you got to do it. You can't argue with yourself about it. You got to just go for it.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan, but I actually know some stuff about House of Smokes because another one of my favorite old school reviewers, Hookah Rev, he actually would go into House of Smokes from time to time to pick up some products.
From Hookah Rev, man. Yep. There's some classic hookah reviewers on YouTube, both with content that they still kind of kick out here and there. But then a lot of the guys from back in the day. Like Frank, Hookah Frank, obviously, he still does a lot of things today with Tangiers, but like he's an original from way back, man. Like me and him have known each other since the days of Hookah Domain, which is one of the very first like online, real heavy community-driven sites that was for reviewing and discussing and all this kind of stuff. And then when Facebook came around and took over the group mentality that they do, if Hookah Domain just fell apart. Like it vanquished by the wayside. Hookah Domain and hookahgiveaway.com, that's the one that I used to be really heavily involved with. That's where I actually started doing Hookah Podcast with this thing called hookahgiveaway.com, and that was a fun time with me and one of my best buddies local to me and stuff. But yeah, hookah reviews and YouTube, they go together like Tangiers and buzzes.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna go. Let's go ahead and keep. We're moving right through this podcast. One thing that I want to talk about in the future today, not so much, just because I don't know if there's anything that we could be really discussing heavily, at least, is news that's going on around the industry. There's nothing that either one of us really thought was too newsworthy, so we're going to kind of skip past this for right now. But in the future, do know that if there's something kind of going on in the industry newsworthy-esque, we would like to talk about it, either new products that are coming out, or also just things that are exciting from a vendor or a distributor or a manufacturer, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't only have to be new products necessarily. So, moving past the news, let's go ahead and get into the topic of our show. The topic that we have kind of chosen, because we both have quite a bit of experience with now, is KFC and the Alchemist line of tobacco. So let's hear some just initial brief thoughts of what you think of Alchemist and the KFC line.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll kind of walk you through what happened from when I first opened my box from 5 Star Hookah that contained this stuff, and actually looking at the product and what you get in the box, because it's pretty interesting, and I feel like it's quite a bit different from what you get from a lot of your current dark leaf tobaccos on the market. So one of the most interesting things that I am absolutely in love with about this product is they actually include a microwave-safe Tupperware-style container for you to put the tobacco into. And that's just awesome, because a lot of the current dark leaf tobacco manufacturers don't do this, and it can be a little bit difficult to store your tobacco in a way that lets you mix it up before packing it. So it gets huge points right there, in my opinion, right off the bat. And then moving along, when you open up the container itself and you get all your tobacco out of that bag and you put it into your microwave safe container, I noticed that the feel and the look of the tobacco is quite a bit different from something like Tangiers or Trifecta. It's just got a completely different feel to it. I don't know if that has anything to do with the way that they actually cure the tobacco. I understand that they cure it in these like barns, which is really kind of interesting, but it is fire cured, which is, quite a bit different from what they do for a lot of these dark leaf tobaccos. It is a burley leaf as well.
And, going off of exactly what you're saying, when I first heard this KFC, this Kentucky fire cured and all the stuff that they were saying about it, I will be completely blunt and honest when I said, here's another gimmick. It's just a gimmick to get you to buy it. That's all it's going to be. I
had the same issue when I picked it up. I wasn't sure. I was like, is this going to be run-of-the-mill stuff? I don't want to, because there's a decent price markup on it for what you're buying, because the tobacco can be kind of hard to source. But yeah, Continue with that thought. I'm interested to hear what you think.
Oh yeah, I was totally thinking like, this is just going to be a gimmick. There's nothing that's going to be different about it. And then as soon as I opened it, one huge points, just like you said about giving you a packaging to actually place the tobacco in, I thought that was absolutely phenomenal and a great idea. But as soon as you touch that tobacco, as soon as you touch it, it is such a different consistency to that touch, like you were saying, that I don't know if it's because of that Kentucky Fire Cure, but there's nothing else on the market that feels the way this does, and this is the only one that I know of that does something very particular to their tobacco. So already I'm starting to feel like, maybe maybe there's something to this fire curing thing. Maybe that's what's making this feel just a little bit different to the touch. It feels not tacky. It doesn't feel like it's sticky. What it feels like is that it's almost grainy. There's like this almost this feeling of like grit to it in a way. And I don't want to say that as a negative, because I think it's a really easy, simple pack. And the one thing that I liked about it a lot too is the consistency of the tobacco itself was also a very fluffy and less dense tobacco on its own, making it simpler to give it that sort of pack mix and allow you to proportion it any way that you want to. Every once in a while you'll get a type of tobacco with a real heavy density to it, and it'll make it almost difficult to work with. This stuff, man, you can reach in, grab, toss it around, and then pack your bowl like nothing. It's very, very simple and easy to manipulate tobacco.
Absolutely. It's kind of the polar opposite from Zomo. You know, that stuff's really sticky and tacky and hard to separate, but this tobacco is just so fluffy, which is, to me, it's a brand new thing to see in a dark leaf tobacco like this.
Yeah, I would say that even Tangiers does not quite have that same sort of appeal to it. Tangiers is a fluffier tobacco as well, and it's very, very obviously there's juice to both of these tobaccos when I talk about Tangiers and KFC, obviously. But the one thing that I will say is that the moisture level for KFC line is very, very nice in the fact that it's not dripping or drooling, and you also don't feel like any pulls, and you feel like when you, at least for me personally, when I packed the bowl and I finished smoking the bowl and it was completely cooked all the way through, there wasn't like anything nasty that I had to clean up afterwards. It was very well contained within the tobacco leaf. I think sometimes when you see those bubbles happen when you put coals on tobacco, there's a couple of brands, there's some stuff back in the day that used to do it terribly, but when you get that kind of weird bubble that happens and it flows over into from your bowl into your downstem and stuff like that, even when you're using a funnel bowl, a lot of times it seems like, at least, that's being caused by the consistency of the liquid with the tobacco not really being fused together, but it's kind of on the outside of the tobacco leaf itself.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the juice in the tobacco is actually absorbed into the leaves very well. And I'm not sure if that has to do with the fire curing process, but I can't think of anything else that would cause the juice to behave that way.
It definitely has a good feel and consistency to it. I think you'll hear that being said a lot in reviews, just because it's something that's very tactile and easy to appreciate immediately. The other thing that I personally felt about the KFC line upon smoking the peaches and cream is that it was a very, very smooth smoke. You're going to get decent-sized clouds. I'm not going to complain about when you get, big old, Nimbus clouds and stuff like that. Shout out to Rob. But I thought that the smoke itself was very smooth. It can give you a buzz. It doesn't give me too much of a buzz. I don't know about you, but for me personally, the smoke was real smooth, relaxing. It was very airy in nature, but still nice, big, fluffy clouds. Sometimes with some of the tobaccos, not even tobaccos, I should say more with the alternative line of tobacco when it comes to the steam stones and stuff like that. You'll get these big clouds, right? But they'll have nothing in it, so it just feels like you're just exhaling air. And then there's just smoke along with it, but it's not very manipulatable because the smoke itself is really light. This stuff, though it smoked really smooth and light, the smoke felt very heavy and easy to control.
Yeah, absolutely. As far as the head buzz goes, I will say that I'm newer to the dark leaf tobaccos than you are by quite a long shot. So I do get an aggressive head buzz in the first 5 or 10 minutes that lasts for about 3 minutes. But after that point, like you said, it's just a very smooth smoke. And the clouds, even though they aren't the largest clouds you can get from the tobaccos on the current market, they have the perfect mix of smoothness with substance. And I absolutely adore that in this tobacco.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Now on to the flavors a little bit. Obviously, I can only talk about the peaches and cream myself, but I will say that the peaches in this flavor that I smoked in particular was very, very natural in essence, and it felt like you were biting into a nice fresh peach. And then the cream, though it did take me a little while, I will say this about the KFC line, at least for the flavor that I've tried. You need to know what you're doing in the sense that you need to take time with that pack. You need to understand what you're packing is going to be something slightly different, and you want to take the time to make sure your pack is on point, because the better you pack it, the better your flavor is going to be with it. I think it happens a lot, obviously. You can pack things good or bad and sometimes still get a pleasurable experience. Trifecta, really good for that, right? You can pack it and mess up your pack a little bit, but you're still going to get a pretty enjoyable smoke. If you do a great job with it, you're going to get a great job, smoke with it. But with this KFC line, it really does benefit you a lot to be able to pack it well, and I think it's worth finding out the best way to do it and then to practice how to pack it, because for me personally, I got the peaches every time I smoked it. but only when I got that perfect pack was when I got the cream flavor, and that cream flavor is on point and very good once you get it smoking well.
Absolutely, yeah. I would say that the packing method that goes into the KFC is a little bit less forgiving than something like Trifecta, where you can mess up a little bit, like you said, with the Trifecta and get a decent session. But if you can nail the pack with this KFC stuff, I think it's one of the best sessions you can actually have right now.
Yeah, so you said you got the moonshine mint, you got the grapefruit mash, and then what was the other one that you said you got?
The bluegrass berry.
Oh, I love the name, right? Like, that's a good name. I feel like Moonshine Mint, I know it won a contest and stuff, and it was a good name, whatever. This blueberry name, that's a good name right there. So, out of the three that you've smoked, which has been your favorite so far?
It's really hard to say, but I think if I had to pick a favorite, and this comes, obviously, it's going to come from a biased place, but I'm going to say the Moonshine Mint is my favorite, and that's because you kind of have a transformative flavor profile as the session goes on.
Yeah, I guess we didn't really touch on that at all, but you can taste the tobacco notes a little bit on this brand. Now, Tangiers is very prevalent in tobacco up front. Even on their best, most fruity flavors, you can still usually taste that tobacco taste a little bit to it. I like it, so I don't have a problem with it, obviously. With the KFC line, it seems as if smoking it for the first 30, 40 minutes or so, you get that real heavy flavor of whatever you're supposed to get, and then you start diving into the tobacco notes afterwards, and then they start to become more and more prevalent as you smoke it. At least that's what it seems like with the peaches and cream. There is tobacco notes there, but they don't show up until much more into the session.
Now, if you're saying that about the peaches and cream, I think the only one we haven't tried between the two of us would be the Old Country Lime. But speaking on the three that I have here in front of me, it's going to be the same exact thing. You're going to get whatever flavor you're smoking. That profile is going to come through very strong in the beginning. As a matter of fact, with the Moonshine Mint, it can be a little difficult to smoke, as it's very, very cold. It comes across as a peppermint flavor. But after the 30-40 minute mark, like you were saying, some of those tobacco notes start to slowly introduce themselves. And by the time you're smoking with your second round of coals, it is very much more in the line of Tangiers tobacco, where you're getting a lot of those tobacco notes to go with the flavor itself.
And I've enjoyed it, honestly. I don't mind this taste change of smoking it. I used to smoke cigars. I'm not going to say this is similar to a cigar by any stretch necessarily or anything like that, but like I don't mind the tobacco notes. I don't mind that taste to it or anything. I think it's a really... Even if you're maybe new to the dark leaf area and stuff, I think it's still worth checking out because, one, at least for me, when it comes to the peaches and cream, obviously that's the one that I'm kind of referring to. I think that it is a good enough flavor on its own without the dark leafness that once you get a little bit of a buzz, you'll get used to it, you'll mature towards it. It's not going to be such an intense dark tobacco flavor that it's going to scare you off.
Right, and what's nice is this brand of tobacco plays well with other dark leaves. I've actually mixed my Moonshine Mint in with some Trifecta dark leaf lime, and what happens when you mix it that way, I go about 25% the Moonshine Mint, 75% the Trifecta dark leaf lime. You don't really get those tobacco notes towards the end of the session because there's so much more of the lime, but it continues with that strong mint flavor profile. So if you're maybe a newer smoker and don't necessarily want to get into those tobacco notes, you should still pick the stuff up, I think, if you're interested in going and trying the stuff out, because you can mix it. It's very friendly if you're mixing it with other dark leaf tobaccos.
Well, I think the only other question that remains for this KFC line is, does it mix well with mint?
Absolutely. Every single flavor that I've tried so far, my Moonshine Mint is running out the fastest because after trying them all on their own and then trying them all mixed, I mix every single one of these flavors with the Moonshine Mint, and they're all awesome.
Okay, guys, you can mix it with mint, therefore it's worth getting. So don't be afraid. Don't worry about asking. It will mix with mint.
Yes, it will mix with mint.
I feel like that's a question that gets asked a lot in the beginning. I did it. I'm not too proud to say that. Back in the day, I said things like, "Hey, can I put mint with that and it still be good?"
Yeah, same here. When I first started going to lounges in Dearborn, I would ask that about everything. Stuff that seems so obvious now, like grapefruit, that sounds great. Can we put a mint in there? And they look at you like, yeah, of course you can put a mint in there, dude. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you can do that. You can. Oh, okay. Thank you, sir. I didn't know if I could. But I don't know. So KFC, I think we're both pretty high on it. One thing about this brand of tobacco, this line, I guess I should say technically, is it has me hoping for the future and the releases of further tobacco down the line. I'm interested to see what else this brand has to offer. Same thing with, like, for me personally, like Black Lava. I really like the 4 flavors that I tried of theirs. So, like, I'm not hesitant or scared to try another flavor from them. Does that make sense, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The only flavor I've tried from Black Lava, I believe, was the strawberry kiwi. I think that's what it was. And it was a little light on the flavor profile, but I only had like 100 grams, so I didn't really have a chance to get the pack down correctly. But I did enjoy the smoke.
Yes, Black Lava, good smoke for that. We'll be talking more about Black Lava in the future because I'm a fan of the brand, so we'll definitely speak on it again. But let's move on. I mean, we were going to have kind of two spots right here, right? I told you, but prior to us talking about the KFC line, we were talking about news, if there was anything going on in around the world of hookah. And also, we're going to be talking about new products after we talk about the topic. But in this case, nothing new topic product-wise we want to really talk about or spotlight at the moment. So we're going to move past that for right now into kind of towards the end of the show, actually. This has been an absolutely blast of a time. No joke. I'm not kidding. I don't get to talk about hookah stuff on the like geek level of hookah stuff. So to be able to talk like this, my wife literally showed up a little while ago as we're talking, and she's like staring at me as I'm saying these things because I talk to her like this, but like she doesn't reply. She just looks at me like, yeah, that's adorable.
Just blank faces. Yeah, absolutely.
But you actually responding, it feels like I'm not crazy anymore.
Yeah, no, this has been very enjoyable. I'm in the same boat with you, man. All my friends that I have smoke hookah because I want them to smoke hookah.
Yes.
So when I'm talking to them about all this crazy cool stuff that I'm crazy stupid geeked about, they look at me like I'm nuts.
Yes. So that's what we want to do for you guys, though. Anyone listening to the show, if you're in that small area, obviously we got the hookah forums that we go to all the time. I love Unbiased and Hookah Enthusiast and Dat Hookah Group. Also, the 5-star hookah group's a really good one, too. Like, there's so much, and you were talking about one as well, weren't you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a newer group to the kind of the cluster of groups we have, and it's the Hookah Lounge THL. I've absolutely loved that group. The moderators and admins there are just outstanding people.
But, if you are in these groups, chances are, at least possibly, not always the case, but sometimes you may be that friend in your group that is the hookah guy or the hookah gal. And that's who we want to talk to. We want to talk to you, the hookah guy, the hookah gal, the one that doesn't get out every day to talk geeky about hookah stuff. That's what we're here for. Let's get geeky when it comes to hookah stuff. And one thing that I want to heavily push and do is the question of the show. Every episode, I want to have a question of the show. We'll answer we'll spotlight the answers that you give on the next episode, and then on the episode following, we'll ask another question. Eventually, we want to get to the point where you ask us questions, and we'll answer them here on the show. I think that would be an awesome time, either recommendations or things from our past or just anything hookah related or not hookah related. I don't care. I don't have a say in what you do or do not ask me, obviously. I mean, I do as a host, but I'm not going to talk about that. But for this very first episode, I was trying to think of what would be a really good question for the first question of the show. And we started, funny story, guys. Me and him, we were talking, and I said, "Oh, we need a question of the show." And I think I immediately almost glazed over what I wanted the question of the show to be. I didn't tell you what I thought the question of the show should be, did I?
No, I'm freaking out here because I'm kind of afraid you're going to ask me to ask the question, and I just don't have one prepared.
No, I thought about something very simple and easy. If you guys, wherever the post is for this, be it on the comments, you can obviously find us here in just a minute. We're going to give out some social media account stuff. But for the starting episode, please tell me and Adrian, what are your top 3 hookah flavors? That's an easy, simple one, right?
Oh, that's a good one. I would absolutely love to hear what people are smoking on right now.
Yes. So what are your top 3 flavors, either of right now, of all time, or just something that you feel like you're in the groove of getting into right now? What about you, Adrian? Could you name 3 of your favorite flavors right now?
It changes from day to day, or from week to week, probably would be a better way to put it. But right now, my top 3 favorite flavors to smoke, it's going to come down to the Moonshine Mint. I know I've been plugging the crap out of that flavor in this podcast. Trifecta's Dark Leaf Lime has been an absolutely outstanding flavor, and this has just always been the case since I started smoking hookah, but just knock the Double Apple.
Yes. Classic. Also classic.
Absolutely.
We will have an episode dedicated to Double Apple. I guarantee you that, because Double Apple is so important in the hookah community for sure.
That's going to be a long one. I've got some opinions on Double Apple.
Ooh, that's exciting. Because I do too. I got some opinions occasionally. Okay, so my 3 flavors, as well with you, man, it changes all the time from left to right and stuff. But and it'll change probably next week too. But peaches and cream from KFC. I know me and you are both on this KFC train, obviously.
You're welcome, Angela. You're welcome, Angela.
Al-Waha Elite Blueberry Guava. So good. It tastes like candy. I love it. Have you had any experience with the Al-Waha line?
I have. I've had a couple flavors, and one of them was this. I can't remember the name of the flavor because they're pretty creative with their naming, but it was like a sour melon flavor, and it was outstanding.
Oh, man. Blueberry guava, I kid you not, tastes like candy. And then because I'm smoking a lot of it right now because I don't have a whole lot of other stuff to smoke, I'm gonna say number 3 is Tangier's Passion Fruit because legit, I love Tangier's Passion Fruit. It really is just a great one. So for the question of the show, please reply to wherever this is posted with your top 3 favorite hookah tobacco flavors, be it tobacco or tobacco. If you're into Heaven Leaf, I like Heaven Leaf. It's pretty good stuff.
We should do a podcast on that stuff because I have some opinions there too.
Ooh, I would love to hear it. You got to try the cucumber melon.
Also the peppermint. The peppermint's good too.
Before we talk, you have to get the cucumber melon because it will change your life. I'm not saying in a good way or a bad way, but it will change your life.
All right. Well, I'm ordering it when we're done here. So
PayPal that.
Yes.
Yes. That's. Anyways, okay. Moving on. Where to find us for social media accounts and stuff like that? Please come and check me out on Twitter. I love Twitter. You have no idea. I use Twitter every single day, every single hour. Twitter is my absolute favorite social media place. You can find me at only Matt Desin. The @, MattDesind. I totally forgot a word in there. Don't erase that. Don't worry about that at all. At ONLYMATTDESIND at only Matt Desin. I'm super active on Twitter, so if you find me and you comment and you follow, I will follow you back and we'll talk all sorts of fun hookah stuff. I talk a lot of Nintendo stuff on there. I'm not gonna lie. I get a little political, not too much, not too much, and a little bit Nintendo. That's what I like to do on Twitter. And then also obviously you can find me at on YouTube. Matt Desin. Just look up MattDesind. You can find me there on YouTube. That's where all my reviews and all the stuff that I do hookah related. My YouTube channel is really just hookah related stuff. I used to do reviews for video games and stuff here and there, but for the most part, I only do hookah stuff on my YouTube channel. So go and check that out and find me on Twitter. Yourself, Adrian, where can we find you if we're looking for you?
Well, to start, like you were saying, YouTube is something that I do as well. And my YouTube channel is dedicated completely to hookah reviews, tutorials, and just hookah discussion in general. And you can find me at Pipe Dream Hookah. That's going to be PIPE _ No, there's not underscore, and now I'm getting into my Instagram. It's just PIPEDREAM hookah, HOOKAH.
Yeah, I know, it's a weird word. It is.
Yeah, it is a weird word. But yeah, Pipe Dream Hookah on YouTube, and then if you want to check out some of my Instagram content, you can just find me at _Pipe Dream, spelled exactly as it sounds, THE_PIPEDREAM.
Awesome. I will find you on Instagram. I do have an Instagram account. I'm not going to bother putting it out there just because it's both family and hookah and non-hookah and just all sorts of random stuff. So I won't bother like pimping that or nothing. But do find me on Twitter. I kid you not. I love Twitter and I interact and do all sorts of fun stuff there. And you could be a part of the first 1,000 people. I'm not at 1,000 yet, but I'm getting closer and closer every day. But please find both of us on YouTube. Let us know what you think of the show. Obviously, if you're listening on one of the hookah forums in Facebook, we appreciate you hanging out and listening with us. Let us know what you think of the show. Any advice, critiques, or criticism, as long as it's from a good place, I would love to hear it, and I believe you would as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we don't mind hearing criticism, but come from a good place. Don't say it because you want to hurt us. Say it because you want to love us. Yes.
Absolutely. Right now, I think I'm bad at this, so any way I could be coaxed into being a little bit better at it is much appreciated.
You made it to the end, my friend. We are here. The light is right in front of you. You don't need to worry any longer. We're at the end of the podcast.
Outstanding.
So let's go ahead and say goodbye. You're smoking. I'm going to be smoking eventually in the evening. So until we see you guys next time, keep on smoking. See you later. Bye.
See you guys later. Take it easy and happy smoking.